Hi, this is Kannababu. Today we'll discuss about cookies in state management techniques. In the last session we discussed about view state and query string. Today we'll discuss about cookies. So first of all, you must know what is a cookie. Cookie is a client-side state management technique which is used to maintain the response on the browser. Right? State management techniques means it's a mechanism of maintaining the state of the response either on the browser or on the server. These techniques are of two types: client-side state management techniques and server-side state management techniques. Client-side state management techniques means maintaining the response on the browser, like view state, query string, cookies, hidden fields. This all comes under client-side state management techniques. Session, application, caching comes under server-side state management techniques. So first we'll have to discuss about cookies. So cookie is a client-side state management technique which is used to maintain the response on the browser. Is it clear? Let us see. We already have the knowledge on web application architecture. So generally in web application, what will happen? Once when we develop the application, after developing the application, we need to deploy the application on the server, so that end user will access the application by the browser and internet. Okay. So here, if you see, I showed you, explained clearly in this diagram. So here, whenever client sends a request, here web server will accept the request, process and generate the response. Apart from that, a cookie is created on the server, and along with the response, the cookie will again travel to the browser. So whenever client sends the second request, along with request 2, again the cookie will travel to server. Along with response 2, again the cookie will travel to browser. So between multiple client requests and responses, the cookie will travel between client and server, and finally cookie will store in the browser in the form of plain text format. Okay, so where cookie is created, server; where cookie is stored, browser. And sometimes in interviews they ask what is the default expiry timeout of cookies. 30 minutes. Session is 20 minutes, cookies 30 minutes. These cookies are basically divided into two types. One is temporary cookie, other one is permanent cookie. We'll discuss about one by one. So in what scenarios you can use these cookies? Generally, for example, if you take a shopping cart application like Amazon or Flipkart or any of the shopping cart application, if you consider, customer will purchase the products through online. So before doing the purchase, customer will add the items to the cart, add to cart. So all these add to cart items, the customer who will try to add the items to the cart, it is not mandated that the customer will do the shopping immediately. For example, before doing the shopping, he will try to select the items and he will add the items to the cart. So all these cart items will store in the browser in the form of cookie. Is it clear? Meanwhile, customer can edit the cart items and he can try to maintain the cart. For a particular time period, the items will be stored in the form of cookie. Anyway, I will show you the example with live. And apart from that, you can see daily we'll watch our mobiles, YouTube videos, a lot of videos we'll watch. Whatever the videos and everything we'll watch, all this information will be maintained. Your browser watch history as well as search history. This information is also stored in the form of cookies. So cookie is used to store some information within the browser. If you delete the cookies, your browser history also will be deleted. Clear browser history means the cookies will be deleted. Let us see practically how to work with these cookies. Okay. So in this video we'll discuss about cookies. Let us see what is this cookie. So as we already discussed that cookie is a client-side state management technique which is used to maintain the response in the browser in plain text format. Okay. So here let us see, this is your browser. This is your browser and this is your server, web server. So what this web server consists of? Application. This is your web server. Web server consists of application. So application consists of files. So step number 1, this is your web browser. Is it clear? So let us see what will happen here. Whenever client sends a request, this is request 1. Whenever the user will enter the URL in the browser, then request will go to the server. Or whenever user clicks on hyperlink, then also request will go to the server. Or whenever user clicks on submit button, then also request will go to the server. So whenever client sends the request, then what will happen? Web server will accept the request, process the request. It will process the request and it will generate the response. Apart from that, a cookie is created on the server. What is created? Cookie is created on the server. And along with the response, the cookie will again travel to the browser. This is your response one. For request one, response one is created now. This response one. Along with the response, cookie will again travel to the browser. So along with request two. Along with request two, again the cookie will transfer to server. Along with response two, again the cookie will again transfer to browser. Along with response to, cookie will again transfer to browser. So between multiple client requests and responses, the cookie will travel between client and server, and finally cookie will store in browser in the form of plain text format. So where cookie is created means server, where cookie is stored browser in the form of plain text format. So in order to create a cookie, we have a predefined class called HTTP. So steps to work with cookie. First of all, we need to create a cookie by using HTTP cookie class. There is one predefined class called HTTP cookie class. This class is responsible to create the cookie. And then we need to store the value in the cookie object. So the syntax for creating the cookie is by using HTTP cookie class. Class name object name is equal to new class name of cookie name. And we need to store the value in the cookie object. Cookie object name dot value is equal to, you can mention some value. Is it clear? The value cookie also will maintain the data in the form of text format. So you can maintain the values in the form of string double quotes. And add the cookie object to the cookies collection table. Internally, cookies will maintain all the data in the form of one collection table, that is cookies collection table. Okay, cookies will maintain the data in the form of one table called cookies collection table, which will maintain the data in the form of key and value pair format, cookie name as well as cookie value. And then add the cookie object to the cookies collection table. So any state management technique, two steps will be there. One is store the value, other one is read the value. So here, if you want to read the value from cookie, you can use request.cookies of cookie name dot value. It's the syntax to read the value from cookie. Let us practically see this example, how to create the cookie and how to read the value from the cookie. Here I'll try to select empty web forms. Click on OK. Working with ASP.NET. So I'll try to go to Solution Explorer. And here I'll try to right click on the project. Add new item. Select web form. The name I will try to give as page1.aspx. Some name I will try to give page1.aspx. Click on add button. You can see my design. Go to your design window. Here I'll try to go to toolbox. Here I'll try to go to view, go to toolbox. There you can drag and drop two buttons. Here you can see button 1 and button 2. Yes, I will take one button. This is button 1. And I will take one more button, button 2. And here I'll try to take one label control. Yes, double click on button. Here I will change the text for the button. Go to the properties. Here the text I'll give as store the value. I want to store the value in the cookie. And button 2, I want to read the value from the cookie. Read the value from the cookie. So here store, read. And here I have one label. Here I'll give bold X large. Okay, so when I click on button 1, I want to create a cookie. When I click on button 2, I want to read the value from the cookie. So let us say double click on button and write the code. So step number 1, we need to create a cookie. Create a cookie. So you can create a cookie by using HTTP cookie class. HTTP cookie obj is equal to new HTTP cookie of cookie name. I'll give some name called X. And then store the value. Store the value in cookie object. In cookie object. Syntax is cookie object name dot value is equal to, here I will try to write something like some name I'll give Kannababu. I'll store some value called Kannababu in the cookie object, and I want to add the cookie object to cookie collection table. To cookie collection table. Add the cookie object to cookie collection table. Obj dot, here you can add something like this. Response dot cookies. Here I'll give response dot cookies dot add of. Here I'll give the cookie object name obj, and then that's it. And I want to read the value from the cookie. I want to display one message in the label saying that label one dot text is equal to value is stored. Value was stored in cookie. Value was stored in cookie. Okay, now? Now whenever user clicks on button 2, I want to read the value from the cookie. So double click on button and write the code. Here whenever user clicks on button 2, I want to read the value from the cookie. Here I will try to write, and I want to store the value in the label. Label one dot text is equal to, here I'll write something like some welcome message. Welcome plus request dot cookies of cookie name. Cookie name is what? X dot value. Cookie also will maintain the data in the form of plain text format only. So press F5 and check the output. So when I click on button 1, then cookie is created. This value Kannababu will store in the cookie object. And when I click on button 2, the value will be displayed from the cookie. Is it clear, everyone? So let us see here. When I click on button 1, value was stored in cookie. When I click on button 2, I can see the value. For example, here I'm using, this is Google Chrome browser. Is it clear? So in this browser, you can see, I think this is which browser? Chrome only. Yes. In this browser, I can see the browser history. Here you can select. Here you can see. I will select this one. And there you can see history. And if I go to browser history, and if I try to clear the browsing data, and here you can see cookies and other side data, just clear data. Means what happened? I deleted the cookies. And once when I delete the cookies, I cannot access the value from the cookie. So now when I click on this read, here this button, I'll get an error because cookie is destroyed. Was it clear? So here I will get an error. So cookie is stored in where? Browser, in the form of plain text format. For example, if you want, I will show you some more. So generally, cookies are basically divided into two types: temporary cookie and permanent cookie. Temporary cookie means the cookie that is stored in the RAM, that is called as temporary cookie. Temporary cookie is also called as non-persistent cookie. Permanent cookie, the cookie that will store permanently in your hard disk, that is called as permanent cookie. The lifespan of temporary cookies until user close the browser. Once when you close the browser, cookies will be destroyed. That is temporary cookie. Permanent cookie means we can set the default expiry time for the permanent cookie. You can set the time for days, hours, minutes, seconds, years, something like that. Okay, so interviewer will ask you, different types of cookies are two types, temporary and permanent. So practically we'll see how to work with these cookies. Okay. Out memory cookie. In memory cookie is also called as temporary cookie or non-persistent cookie. Out memory cookie is also called as permanent cookie or persistent cookie. Let us see one example so that you'll understand. See here, when I press a same example, store the value in the cookie and read the value from the cookie. Same example I will try to show you. Here you can see. Now when I click on the button 1, request will go to the server and cookie is created. Along with the response, cookie will come to the browser and finally cookie value is stored in the browser. Click on read. Now when I close the browser, cookie will be destroyed. Again, if I try to execute the page, again if I try to refresh, let us see what will happen. Here if I try to refresh the page, let us see what will happen here. Okay, now when I click on directly read the value, you will get error because cookie is destroyed. That is in-memory cookie. Cookie value will be maintained until user close the browser. Now press F5. Let us see what is persistent cookie or out memory cookie. The cookie value that is stored in the hard disk, that is persistent cookie. So if you want to store the cookie value in the hard disk, you have to set the expiry time for the cookie. Here I will write something like this. Obj dot after storing the value, here I will try to write obj dot expires is equal to, here I will give system dot datetime dot now dot add seconds of 10. Up to 10 seconds my cookie value will be maintained. After 10 seconds cookie value will be destroyed, but still I think 10 seconds is very less time. So here I'll try to give at least 2 minutes. Add minutes. I'll try to go add minutes of 2 I will give. So I'll try to press F5, check the output. You can add minutes, hours, seconds, milliseconds, years, days, months, etc. See, now I'll try to click on button 1. Let us see what will happen. Value is stored in the cookie. And when I click on button 2, value will be displayed from the cookie. See, store the value and read the value. Fine. Now close the browser and again stop debugging. Again press F5. Now again directly you click on read, then automatically value will be displayed because we have set the expiry time is 2 minutes. Up to 2 minutes the value will be available in the cookie. After 2 minutes the value will be automatically destroyed. But that if you're not setting any expiry time, default timeout is 20 minutes. See, that is how you can work with cookies. Cookies is very powerful topic. Is it clear? So in interview point of view, interviewer will ask where cookie is created, web server. Where cookie is stored, web browser. What is the scope of cookie? Throughout the website you can access anywhere cookie. What is the default expiry time out of cookie? 30 minutes. What are the different types of cookies? Temporary cookie and in-memory cookie and permanent cookie. And here I already show you the differences between these two cookies. Yes or no? In-memory cookie and out-memory cookie. Okay. And here you can take some other examples also, like online examination. Generally when you take any online examination websites, there also you can see the student or the user will try to, it will take some time, some 15 to 20 minutes or half an hour exam will be there. Within this time period, all the questions and answers must be saved in the browser. For example, 10 questions are there in a website. So user will post the first answer. Similarly, he will click on next. It will go to the next page. And same in the next page, the second answer he will select. Like that, meanwhile, he has to maintain that answers within that particular time period. And these all answers and everything will be saved in the browser in the form of cookies only. And finally, when he will submit the answer, then finally the answer will go to the result will be submitted to the server and finally it will store in the database. Like similarly, if you take Gmail, when you try to log in with your username and password, your passwords are automatically saved in the form of cookie only. I hope you understood. So if interviewer will ask you mostly what is cookie, cookie is a client-side state management technique which is used to maintain the response on the browser within a particular time period. The default expiry time out of cookie is 30 minutes. Cookies are of two types, in-memory cookie and out-memory cookie. In-memory cookie means the cookie that is stored on the RAM, and that cookie will destroy immediately when we close the browser. Out memory cookie means the cookie, whenever we set any expiry time for the cookie, then it is called as out memory cookie, and the cookie value will be stored in the hard disk. Okay, na? And the default expiry time out of cookie is 30 minutes. That's it. In the next video, we'll discuss about server-side state management techniques. For more videos, try to subscribe to my channel, share, like, subscribe. And if you want any Python videos also, you can simply search Python by Kannababu in YouTube. Thank you. Catch you in next video.